I'm sure you do.
We're talking about the pluses and minuses of it.
We'll see.
I was thinking of my own experiences, folks like Zoom.
My mother-in-law just passed away in June.
Tell her that.
You give me a call. Yeah.
I'm serious. I'm not kidding.
I don't know, I want to be associated with her. Some of the Dutch.
Yeah?
Gary's gonna vote with me? I can send you text messages.
Gary, you gonna stay on the
Oh! Okay, okay.
Watch me sweat?
No, the other way around.
See you pass out?
No, so we can.
Here, well, I have okay.
He's like British Parliament, right? Make sure.
Oh, I see.
Sword length apart from
See
each
that look
other.
that I'm normally giving you? You're like this. So
You watch those guys go back and forth. It's kind of
On
fun.
the
You sort of wish that we had some of that, just at least one time that they would go up.
I would like elected officials.
Yeah, that's the thing.
To truly use.
This guy right here.
Hey, everybody.
All around.
you're shaking it?
Well, she said, you know, on the side over there.
I didn't get one. Okay.
Alright, so
Brian,
Wherever.
if Gio's not here, ask him to bring better headphones in.
Alright, you wear so many masks.
I used to teach from a book that was behind the mask.
I could be Joe too.
you want me to go?
Is it about her?
You want me to run this?
Oh, I mean, they all ask.
Yeah, she's coming. She's gonna be here in just a second. No, she's gonna be here in just a second. She'll be here certainly before 3. We just left a little bit before that. So we're okay. We're good. Very good. Relax, we're good.
Back in Moore's, I think
Don't wipe your hands on your clothing.
Don't you go to Liz.
I know where they go.
Who'd you call? Jeff called me. Yeah? I don't know. I'm calling her back.
I'll have it all for you.
Okay, did you already, is the audio fine? Okay, I called Gio, like, the headphone just kind of sucks. Like,
You're not cheap today?
Are you Kathy?
Sometimes. Depends on what you want.
I've been calling it cake last time and you kept walking around the
Is this your whole division?
It's the new Senate choir. Oh, yeah, that's
I didn't want to do this.
God, I hate that. No, it's so. And if I just. Oh, that's right. Get the open area.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to call this meeting of the Academic Senate to order. Are there any alternates in attendance? Tina Johansson for Jane Walker. Any other alternates in attendance? All right. Folks, did you all receive a copy of the agenda? Before we move to adopt the agenda, I'd like to suggest a couple of time-sensitive items that need to be moved, if you don't mind. Under unfinished business, letter B, adjunct Senate elections update. If we could start with those under unfinished business, I'd like to meet our new adjunct senators. So if you'll oblige me, moving letter B to number 1. We have a couple other time-sensitive items. Letter D, Staff Development Coordinator, and letter C, Distance Ed Coordinator. We have guests appearing at 3:30 for the Distance Ed Coordinator position. So if we could take B, then D, then C in that order, I'd appreciate it. Then we can come back to letter A under unfinished business. And then under new business, at a time specific 4:15 for letter B, Community College Baccalaureate degrees, and then we can take the rest of the items as listed. Are there any issues with reordering of the agenda?
So So we're going B, C, D at 3:30?
I am asking for under unfinished business, B, then D, and then no matter where we are at 3:30, letter C for distance ed coordinator, because that's when our guests will be here.
Do you need a motion to that?
I would like to entertain one. Are you offering up?
I so moved.
Thank you. Is there a second? All right. So adopted is our agenda. Let's move to approval of the minutes from September 25th. I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
So moved.
Is there a second? Are there any corrections to the minutes? Yes, Pat?
I have a couple really on behalf of Kathy Llanos.
Okay.
The first one on what is my printout version, page 2, under the approval of the minutes. Kathy Llanos abstained on that as an alternate who had not been there prior to that, so it should indicate both Susan Klein and
Kathy Llanos.
Okay.
And then on page 4, at least on my printout, it is the 5th paragraph where it starts with alternate Senator Llanos. Committed the committee for seeking to process ESL students, and it should, instead of saying for ESL issues, it was for DSPS issues.
DSPS issues.
Anything else?
No.
Any other corrections to the minutes? All right. Bill, do you want to add that to the minutes?
No.
No, okay. Then all those in favor of approving the minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And any abstentions? No abstentions? All right then. Moving on. Is there anyone here for public commentary? Yes, ma'am. Please state your name.
Hi, I am Gina Hooper, and I was here to talk about the baccalaureate degree that will be being put up for discussion later today. And I was going to start off, I had a professor that once told me in my class that you are all gifted and unique, talented individuals, but no one will know that until you put your step forward. We, the mortuary science students, are putting our foot forward today to show you that we are in favor of putting the baccalaureate degree for our subject. Cypress College associate degrees exceeds the curriculum of other schools, and a majority of the standards the baccalaureate degrees hold nationwide. And the nation only sees the abbreviations AS for us. We would like to change that. There is no campus on the West Coast that offers this degree, and we are here today to support the opportunity to expand our education and have the alumni of Cypress College be a larger force in the theologian industry. In the funeral industry. There we go, off the paper. But we are here to support, and thank you for allowing us to be here today.
Thank you. Any others for public commentary?
Before we end on that, Madam President,
Yes, sir.
may I ask how many guests in attendance are here to support what our public commentary speaker just mentioned?
Well, let's get them to stand. And we'll count them off. We'll start over here with 1.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23,
24.
25, 26, 27.
28.
28. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any others for public commentary? Yes, ma'am.
Hello, and I just wanted to thank you, the Board of Academic Senate, first for your time that you are all taking to have this meeting. I am also here with the mortuary science students, and I wanted to give you a little bit more further information of how you guys supporting the bachelor's program can further all of our education. So first off, I want to have you all have a little in-look on my personal life. Both my parents are teachers, so for me, education is not an option. It is required in my household. And as that goes, we have no money because both my parents are teachers. So for me currently, I work 2 jobs to fund my own education, and having the bachelor program come to Cypress College would be a major difference in my life personally, because that means I don't need to move to Oklahoma to get my bachelor's degree in the field that I personally love and want to get an education in. 2, I won't have to pay out-of-state tuition. And 3, I won't have to do the online program, which is the other option for the bachelor's degree program, because for me personally, I have a learning disability, so online programs don't work well with me, and I want to make sure I have that firm foundation in my education and I'm not just doing it half and half through an online system. For me, as all of you guys can probably agree with me, knowledge is power, and I want to get my bachelor's degree, so I have that knowledge. And not only that, it's going to further, it's going to encourage other students to further their education, because I know me personally, I'm not the only one in my program that has financial problems and whatnot. So having the bachelor's program located right here in Cypress, so many more people are going to want to further their education through that. And I just, myself and my classmates would be very thankful for your support. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Any others for public commentary?
Just a matter of notification. My name's Richard Fee, and last time I came to the meeting on my vacation time as an advocate for Measure J. Today I'm here in my official capacity as an informational resource should the Senate decide that they need some questions.
Thank you very much. I appreciate your willingness to answer our questions on Measure J. All right. If there's no other for public commentary, we'll move on to special reports. Associated students. Priya?
Hello. So as you all know, we have our blood drive today. It was yesterday and today. We also had Donate Day yesterday, which was hosted by the honors program, and we also helped, so everybody was trying to help out for the good of the cause. And we also have Pumpkin Bash on the 30th. So I hope to see you all at Pumpkin Bash. It's going to be from 6 to 8. So, yeah, thank you.
All right. Anything for United Faculty?
United Faculty is having a voter registration drive. I was going to say a blood drive, but that would be kind of lame. Voter registration drive on the 15th of October, which is next Wednesday, in front of Tech Ed 3. So I'd like to see all the students who need to register. I've got the cards and everything else, and we'll be passing out cards and candy.
Candy?
Of course. Got to get the students there somehow.
Thank you. Staff development, we don't have a coordinator, but that's an item later on our agenda that I asked that we move to number 2 under unfinished business, so we'll come back to that. Curriculum committee. Mark?
Well, aren't we going to that meeting, I think? Are you joining me? We have a meeting on October 18th at Riverside Community College. The topics include associate degrees for transfer. I need my glasses. Adult basic education, career development and college prep course funding, CDCP, program and course approval handbook update, and new model curriculum information. So I am going, I contacted Paul Diaz that my President Art Campus Articulation Officer, Jennifer Hurley, could go, which would be helpful because there's all these there might be some breakout sessions, areas of her expertise that she can consult with me about. And Donna Landis would like to go, which would be great. That has happened before with other colleges where your classified person that is invested in terms of systems, office submissions of curriculum could learn the latest actuarial requirements of that, because they do tend to change. I know there's some concerns, Jim, about units and hours, and that can help us resolve that. Changes in terms of how we calculate hours of instruction to units of credit. And then I think our Dean in Fine Arts would like to go, which would be great. Just like we're going to carpool, maybe. That should reduce the cost of gas. It's in Riverside, so it'll be great. It'll be on the 18th. So, and otherwise, we're barreling along.
And you hosted the State Academic Senate at your last meeting?
Yes. We had a meeting with Craig Rutten and Michelle Grimes-Hillman. They did a presentation that was very helpful. Bless their hearts, they came in on their own time and stayed for the entire meeting last Tuesday to do a PowerPoint presentation on how to place courses within disciplines, and answer a few other questions about things that are coming through the systems office that have to do, again, with units and hours and TBA hours, the accounting for TBA hours, how we account for that in terms of the auditing context, and also to deal with some changes coming in terms of new paradigms for evaluating, again, units of credit to hours of instruction. So they were very helpful. We had a good time. A lot of the Senate members were there, and I really appreciate all of those of you who came to that presentation to be part of that and be in the question and answer session of that. I thought they were great. That was very helpful, and I'm grateful to all of you that came, and I'm grateful to them that did come, that Craig Rutten and Michelle Grimes for coming. I'm done.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you.
The Academic Senate Treasurer's Report, Lori? right. Cypress College Foundation is, let's see here, okay. Basic Skills Committee.
We have the report, I think, from,
It came out? Do you want to read it?
that,
Oh, okay.
that Brian sent us.
Oh, fantastic. 2014-2015 end-of-year report has been completed and is at the district for final review and submission to the state chancellor's office. Once it is sent to the state, the district will send us a PDF of the full report, which we will load into our BSI folder on the Campus J drive. In our narrative portions, we were able to share our efforts of providing faculty advising during assessment, the launching of Summer Boost this past summer, our continued support of the Cypress SCE CoLab for math, and point out the extremely high success rates of our English and ESL sequences on the state's Student Success Scorecard. In addition, we provided the funding for conference attendance, departmental mini-conferences with full-time and adjunct faculty, and explained how our BSI funding supports the goals of the SSSP plans and student equity plans, as required in the reporting document. Our action plan for the 2014-2015 is continuing the top items from our 2013-2014 plan. Most particularly, we plan to focus efforts on the area of student stop-out, where students successfully complete a course in the series yet do not immediately enroll in the next required course. She has attached a copy of the action plan and long-term plans, which stay the same for our reference. The entire report will be on the J drive within the week. All right, thank you, sir. Student Learning Outcomes Assessment. Sarah.
Yes, we've been working to assist departments that are going through program review right now because there are new reports from TrackDet and new department-generated reports that need to be worked on, and that's going very well. And we're also, as a department, we're discussing and researching new ways to capture SLO data and new ways to communicate that data, you know, according to what accreditation may be looking for moving forward. So,
thank you so much. Program review and department planning. Kathleen?
Just all the reports are due to the deans October 15th and then due to me by October 30th. And then the committee will meet during November to do the long form. The short form, we won't be providing feedback unless there's an issue, but we'll be reviewing them as well. So we're good.
Very good. And District Council on Budget and Facilities, the next meeting is on Monday, and I'm still looking for a volunteer. Not a single volunteer to it. Somebody has to have Monday afternoon free. Go hear Fred Williams tell you about the budget. No? All right. Then we have the President's Report. There are a number of different items on our agenda today, so I'll leave those as they come up. I am just going to move on to the unfinished business. Not much to report that is outside of what we have in the other agenda items, and we're coming real close to what we're going to need in terms of time. So I'm not going to go into the newsroom yet, but I'd like to meet our new adjunct senators. Gary, you want to tell us who we have with us?
I am very happy to go and announce that we had 3 candidates who successfully have gained earned seats in our Senate. They are Tanya Cobb, J.Y. Ho, and Mark Popanetti, I believe is the correct pronouncing. Would you 3 stand up if you're here, please? And Mark, tell us how to pronounce your last name.
Poppany, allegedly. Poppany, like owl.
Poppany.
Poppany.
Got it. Fantastic. Welcome, Tanya, Mark, and JY. It's a pleasure to have you with us this afternoon.
Thank you.
Oh, very good. Now on to Staff Development Coordinator. Okay, here we go, folks. Last time we had this discussion, a question came up as to how the selection of a Staff Development Coordinator is made. I did indeed ask Dr. Simpson, and historically it has been an informal process between the president of the college and the president of the Academic Senate. And we are at a point in time right now where several of our conferences are coming up, conference funding needs to be turned in. So Dr. Simpson has provided for us a proposal that would help create a situation where we have staff development for this academic year while we work to formalize a process for selecting our next staff development coordinator. So as the goldenrod sheet of paper comes around, you'll notice that it's a suggestion, much like I reported last time, to have 2 individuals share the position for this academic year to help get us through, and then during that period of time, develop a more formalized process for selecting our next staff development coordinator. So if you'll take a moment to review the proposal, I hope there's enough copies. It looks like everyone got a copy.
No, there's more going
And there's
around.
more going around. Okay. So the proposal would allow for us to provide continuity in staff development opportunities for employees of the college, and the duties and the responsibilities of the coordinator, which is in the job description I previously passed out, would be assumed jointly by Peggy Austin and Mary Foreman. And then the breakdown that you see, Peggy Austin and Mary Foreman will co-coordinate with Peggy Austin as the principal during the fall term, and then Mary Foreman as the principal during the spring term. I am willing to entertain, and I would be happy if somebody would propose a motion to accept this proposal so that we can begin discussion.
Move approval?
Is there a second?
A second.
All right. Madam Maker of the motion, would you like to speak to it first?
Well, no, I wasn't planning on it,
Okay.
but I certainly
Then we'll
can.
allow someone else
I
to.
think this is, I think we have 2 good people who have come forward here. It's a difficult position, and they have worked together to kind of already divide up what the responsibilities would be. I think the position will be in very good hands with those individuals and how they are making the arrangements. So I think it would be a very beneficial decision for us to make to support this proposal.
Is there anyone in opposition? Jesse?
Not in opposition, I have a question.
Yes, sir.
You mentioned, when you talked, you said that there was going to be a effort by our president to formalize a procedure, but on here, I don't see that written. I'd like to make sure that that gets into the record, and maybe we could have a date when that might be done, so that we can have somebody have an announcement to have candidates for next fall.
Absolutely. It would be in conjunction with myself, and I would bring the proposal to the Academic Senate as we formalize the process for the selection, and there would be a generalized call that goes out to all faculty. And then we would go through the formalized process of selecting our next staff development coordinator. Brian?
Opposed?
Opposed? Because that was a question.
Now, this is a little sensitive, but I guess one of the ways that I would address this is are the 2 people here, is this a robust enough pool? You only want to have 2 people. We only have 2 people who have come forward. And I'm not sure that that represents a robust enough pool for us to deal with that, given the precedent that's been set that one person came forward as a full-timer to take the job, but the pool wasn't robust enough. So I have to, until I get an answer about that that's better than historically it was done a particular way, I'm not going to support this proposal.
Children.
Mark?
I hear your concern in terms of the protocol of this. But having seen the operations of this committee over time and its purposes and procedures, these 2 candidates are more than qualified to fulfill it on behalf of the mission and goals of the college and in terms of the purposes of that committee. And there are consequences if we don't fill this position in terms of faculty requests for conferences and otherwise. So it is a somewhat time-sensitive issue. So I would hate for us although I feel for you, I hate for us to perhaps in a procedural level, do something that could be in another context more effectively dealt with in terms of having a larger pool. I just don't think we have to be too concerned about setting a precedence in this matter because we have a time-sensitive issue. This committee's business needs to move forward. I think I would presume that most people here on the Senate would feel that both these people are certainly have integrity in terms of the college's mission and purposes of this committee. And I think in the interest of benefiting the faculty and consequently the students in terms of the business of this committee, and because it's time sensitive, I know Brian, I never like to disagree with Brian. I think we should move forward with this. And I'm done.
Thank you. Anyone in opposition? That would be for anyone in opposition? Any other questions? Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to respond to the issue that Brian raised. I understand where you're coming from. I think we would all prefer to have 15 people come forward to choose the best possible person. The reality is we've been trying for a while to get individuals and we're not getting a lot. But what we have now really is effectively 3 people who have come forward. One is an independent category, the other 2 as a joint appointment. So the issue of one person coming forward is that this committee would, that the Senate would have no choice in the matter. The Senate does now have a choice. It is a choice, really, between the 1 versus the 2 on it. And to me, I think we have a very good selection in the option of the 2 individuals working jointly. So I think there has been an indication of more than one person. It's not just one, and therefore I think the issue takes care of itself.
I'm not speaking
in opposition.
I'm not speaking in opposition or for just as informational. Informal processes always work really well until they don't work. And when we have understandings about how we're going to operate, that works really well, again, until then we have misunderstandings. The idea that, you know, one person should be sufficient if we have one person, well, no. The way we have operated has been one acceptable person to the Senate and to administration. There's another factor there. But what I'm articulating are informal understandings and processes that have been in place. And they worked really well until now it isn't working. And so what I'm proposing is an interim solution to the problem with 2 individuals I believe are acceptable, while we then, the Senate and administration, engage in a process to develop a formal procedure that we will agree to jointly that will take into account all possible outcomes when we put out a call to fill the staff development. It doesn't say this on the document. It was my intention that this proposal be a 1-year interim solution to the problem that we staff development for now. And in the interim, we've got now then the rest of the academic year, we will put our heads together and we will come up with a formal understanding of how we will address staff development, because there is one principle that I remain committed to, and that is staff development should be coordinated by faculty.
Anyone else in opposition with a new idea or argument? Being none, we will move.
We have a hand up at the table.
Oh, at the end? I'm sorry.
I'm not really in opposition, but I think I should comment on this. Just so that you know, I did meet with Peggy Austin. We did discuss the parameters of the job, what the expectations are. So I did not meet with Mary, but I have worked with Mary on other things having to do with staff development. I would strongly encourage this body to push forward on something by next semester. Waiting another year will just create more of a gap, I think. If we're truly committed to staff development, then let's step it up. Let's do it. Instead of doing this patchwork thing, because that's what it's been. You know, part of the reason I'm stepping down is because I don't feel that I could do the job I wanted to, given the resources that I had. So I want to be sure that if we do this, it's really a short-term solution, because this will not be effective going forward.
I will take that as in favor, so opposition?
Certainly my comments about Peggy Austin and Mary Foreman, I completely believe what everybody said about them. However, if that does seem to blow back onto our first candidate and suggest he wasn't any of those. And I don't want that to be read by him. I understand this is an informal process, so I'd like to actually move to amend this proposal to add a number 9,
okay,
which says that the above will be for this academic year only.
Is there a second?
Actually add to it.
Oh, there's more, I'm sorry.
Yeah, only.
Dramatic pause.
Okay.
Well, during the year.
Okay, so the above will be for this academic year.
The above will
only
be for the academic year, for this academic year only. During this year, a formalized procedure will be agreed upon. By
the
Senate and the Senate administration, the academic Senate and the administration.
Okay. Mark, are you still willing to second that? All right. I have a motion and a second to amend the proposal to add a number 9. Mr. Maker of the motion, would you like to speak to your amendment?
It formalizes what's been said by many, including the president.
Okay. Are there any in opposition? Seeing none, all those in favor of adding a number 9 to this proposal, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed to adding a number 9 to this proposal? Any abstentions? We have an abstention from Kathleen Ryland. Any other abstentions? Back to the main motion. This proposal was moved for acceptance. It now contains 9 provisions. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nay.
We have 1. Any abstentions? We have 1. Kathleen Ryan.
2.
And
Rebecca
Gomez. The motion passes. Thank you, folks. Welcome, Jeannie Miller. Thank you so much. We are now at our 3:30 mark. Look at that for timeliness. Distance Education Coordinator position. All right. So, you folks have seen this previously. I'm sending it around again in case you have forgotten what the proposal was that created a situation where we wanted Jeannie Miller to be here to answer questions for us. This is regarding the Distance Education Coordinator, another position that we are having difficulty staffing with faculty. And we asked, I believe it was Pat that asked we include Jeannie Miller and Jessica Puma in this discussion. So I have invited Jeannie here today to give us some background on this before we make any sort of a recommendation. So as it's coming around, it's the yellow sheet of paper. And you'll notice that it outlines the historical training that was done for our distance education faculty. It's a suggestion by Dr. Donnelly that we allow our faculty who have not gone through the faculty basics training provided here at Cypress College to use another source of training rather than limit it only to the training that is provided here on campus. So I will allow Jeannie to add any comments that she'd like.
Well, I haven't had a chance to read this, so I can't really tell you, but just off the top of my head in terms of the training, there is good training available throughout one. However, that only teaches instructors about distance education in general and maybe regarding their particular discipline. However, it does not teach them about Cypress College's view of distance education. And that is, I believe, the key. First of all, let me back up with you. Right now, I'm sitting here. I was the distance education coordinator for 7 years. The reason why I am no longer the distance education coordinator was because our administration was misled and signed a contract with the district to host our Blackboard course site. The district IT department suggested that they had the ability to do that, and anybody that used Blackboard in the last couple of years when the district was hosting it knows that that was not the case. The job totally changed at that point. That was in the spring of 2012, and the distance education plans that we put together were totally ignored. The distance education plan that is supposed to be revised this year has never been touched because the people in the department had to deal with the incompetence of the district IS department. We finally were able to now, with this administration, change to a Blackboard hosted course site, which is key. which has provided us stability. Now, if everything had remained the same and we had not moved to the district, I would probably still be the distance education coordinator, although I now have an OMA job that I like a lot better. So I like being grandma a lot better than I like being distance education coordinator. But the key point is that at this point, with the version of Blackboard that's being used, we definitely need a technical person. There is no way, I could not probably do the job right now. Because I realized that I didn't want to go on and on. I did the job for 7 years, and I don't want to bore you all with all the details that are running around in my head. But basically, what used to happen was we had Blackboard, and we contracted with Blackboard, a separate division with Blackboard, and they had Snapshot. And Snapshot created the course sites. It enrolled the instructors, assigned the instructors, and it enrolled the students. And we did that, and it worked very well. It was a separate component that we paid for. With the latest version of Blackboard, that's not the case. It's all done by the system administrator, which is what I was, but I didn't know any of that. So I used to just call India, and India was my friend. At 10 o'clock at night, and that was the thing that I loved about Blackboard hosting. I could call India at 10 o'clock at night, I could call them at 6 o'clock in the morning, I could call them at 2 o'clock in the morning. They were always there, and they always helped me. Now that's not possible, and there is a technical side to the system admin that needs to be addressed and should be somebody much more technical. So from that side of it, I have no problem. My concern is that moving to a district person, the district is going to try to tell us how to set up our Blackboard course site. And that would be wrong. The way the district works is, in the IT department, is they do things that are technically correct, right? Technically you can do this. And that's the way Fullerton College has worked. Whatever you can do, do it. At Cypress, we have been much more controlled, have had much more research, and have done a lot more work. So an example for you, when we first started talking to the district IT in Fullerton, we said, how often are you updating Blackboard? Because they had trouble trying to find errors. Oh, every hour. I said, every hour? When we set it up, we stopped and thought. Let me see, when would be the best times? We picked 4 a.m. for those students that may register at midnight. We picked 1 o'clock for those students that might register at lunchtime. And we picked 6 o'clock for those students that might be registering at dinner. We thought about it. What's best? When I asked them, why did you do it every hour? Because we could. That was it. No thought, no, this is the best thing for our students, because we could. So my concern about setting up a system admin, which would be fine at the district level, but they need to answer to Cypress College. We have set up a Cypress College quality rubric that the entire college community looked at. This body approved it. We use that rubric to set up our training geared to that, because Cypress is unique. We know we're not the same as Fullerton or Cerritos or anywhere else. We have our own way of looking at it, and we've documented that. We spent the time and effort and discussions to actually document that. So my concern, if we go to the district, and the district probably is going to have to provide that technical person. We don't have that person. But they need to answer to us. We do not need to answer to them. Now, backing up a little bit on the history, the distance education program was set up by faculty. We have always had a proud tradition of having a grassroots, faculty-driven distance education program. So that's what I believe we should continue to have. If we had this technical person and a distance education coordinator, who I believe should be faculty, because we're talking about pedagogy, which is not the same as pedagogy in the classroom, in the face-to-face, really good pedagogy, how to set up the procedures. that's what we need is a coordinator that understands the aspect of that. And yes, they could do some of what I did, some of the system admin, the front side, but they could not ever do all that technical stuff. Some of that stuff, there's a couple of hours a month actually that is added to the job because of the new versions of Blackboard. So I would strongly recommend that this body, when they look at setting up the procedures, it's very, very clear that the district answers to our program. We as faculty have set up the procedures, the policies, the way that we believe things that should be done, and they are supposed to we're their customer and they have to provide a service. They did not have that attitude when they hosted us. It was like we had to live with them to a certain extent. And we need to make sure that we are an individual entity. We are never, I hope never, combined with Fullerton College. Fullerton College has never required training for instructors for distance education. They offer it, but they don't require it. And I believe that there could be a day could come where we are hurt because Fullerton College is part of North Orange County Community College District, and when our district is sued because a Fullerton College instructor has not complied with the laws, the 508, Regulation 508 laws and accessibility laws, it's our district that's going to be sued, not just Fullerton College. So we have a responsibility, I believe, to keep our department, our program, that again, we have so thoroughly documented, keep that intact. And if we have to have any merging with Fullerton, it should be only on the technical level, not on the program level, because the two institutions have their own individual types of programs. Again, if we don't do this, the problem with going to the district in the first place, I've never said this publicly, but I will say it now. I was the distance education coordinator for 6 years. I am a CPA, and I am also a professor of accounting. I was never shown or were any of the information shared with me with that contract that was signed between Cypress College and the district, even though I had helped negotiate contracts with Blackboard in the past. So my belief is that the offer in the contract was misleading. I'm not necessarily, I fault the administration at the time for never discussing it with us, but I think that our administration was misled. And we need to be it needs to be very clear and very straightforward about what the district does for us and who is able to set the standards. And the last thing I'll have to say, and then I'll be glad to answer the questions, has to do with the training. The training at One's great, but that we would still need to have some type of training for Cypress College. They need to know about what we believe is an appropriate or an exemplary distance education course, which again, we have the Cypress College rubric. If any of you want to see it, just go cypresscollege.edu/rubric. It's still there. That effort should not be wasted for all of the time and effort that we spent. And my concern is, what I would hope is that we actually get a coordinator and have somebody start working on the plan to continue to improve our program. Well, I shouldn't say continue, because now we have to play catch up. We have 2 or 3 years. We were once considered one of the frontline programs in the state. We haven't done any, well, we were 2 years ago, but we haven't done anything since then. We've just had bandages. And I would hope that we will grow and thrive like we have in the past with a strong faculty support behind it.
What is the pleasure of the Senate?
Just a quick question, real quick. The yellow sheet that went around, who wrote this?
That's from Dr. Donnelly's proposal that went out to you folks 3 meetings ago.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I have a question for Jean. Are we saying, and I didn't read all this, that the proposal that we're listening to now is that we have Blackboard as our site person. We'll have a faculty member here at Cypress who will basically play the role you did, except will not do the real technical part of it.
Well, and I didn't do as much technical. What I'm saying is, like I say, I haven't read this whole proposal. Because I'm just seeing it for the first time. What I'm suggesting, what we really need at this college, we need a full-time distance education coordinator, faculty that has experience in distance education. We need a full-time instructional designer to help the faculty put the materials together, to help the coordinator with the training. We really need a full-time backside person, but I don't know that much of it. Maybe a half-time is what they're giving us. They have to pull information from our database and send it to Blackboard. So it's beyond me. And we have the full-time administrative assistant. But we really need a full-time coordinator to get our program, and a full-time instructional designer to get our program back on course.
And you're suggesting both of those to be faculty?
Well, I don't know about instructional designer, because instructional designers sometimes, Jessica was quite unusual, because she, even though she was faculty, she went back after Title V and got a second master's degree. She had her master's in Spanish, but then she got her master's degree in the design. So I don't know that person, as long as that person, the instructional designer, understands pedagogy. I've met the instructional designer at not Santa Ana. What's Santa Ana's sister school?
Santiago Canyon College.
She knows pedagogy as well as I do. Now I've met other ones that just know the technical. So I believe that the pedagogy, that knowledge is important.
What is the pleasure of the Senate, Kathleen?
I appreciate how responsive I've been teaching distance ed since back with Betty Disney. So I've seen everybody who's gone through, and you were always very responsive, very helpful, and I appreciate all the work that you've put into this. Sitting on program review this last year, there were several issues that came up. One of them was there were faculty that were Blackboard trained at other colleges that couldn't teach here. So that was an issue. And then if they had wanted to go through the training was too long. They were I have two faculty who teach computer systems for the airlines. So they're very tech savvy, and they would have to come in on their days off to complete the Cypress training, which is too much to ask their managers at the airport. They can't take days off to come in and complete the training, but that was also echoed during program review in other areas. For example, health science was one of the ones that raised the issue. A couple of other people did too. The other thing is web-enhanced course instruction. Every semester, those instructors have to ask, can I get my class back up web-enhanced? The deadline opened, it closed, it opened, it closed. They missed it because of the the change with the, our email system, and there was no one who could help. And while I'd like to see a faculty involved in the process, I don't want it to be a revolving door of retraining every time somebody comes in. I would love to see it be a permanent position.
Permanent. Distance ed coordinator?
Yeah, permanent.
Well, it was.
But I mean, so that we don't have the situation of people having this big learning curve, because when they come in, often the teachers that are teaching it know more than the person sometimes who's coming in to be the coordinator. So in some cases, it's been like, we don't have any resources. I don't have anybody to call and say.
Can I address first the issue of the web enhanced training?
Yeah.
I know I watched the last Senate a couple of times ago, and it was like, well, we had people that were adjuncts and they want to use Blackboard, right? Well, that's not the procedural problem. The procedures are correct, because we've protected this institution by making sure that those people have been that know about 508 compliance. They know about copyright. If we don't do that, I mean, we have a legal responsibility to do that. So, just let me finish for a minute. So the key is that those people could come in, they don't even, if they've already been trained, they've worked somewhere else, they can take, all there is a 30-question quiz. They can take unlimited attempts, and then they are able to take that. So that's not the problem. The problem is the fact that we don't have the personnel that we have been expected to run on a skeleton crew for so long. So if we had the personnel, the procedures are fine. But the closing and opening, because there's nobody there to do it.
Right, so the web enhanced, the training for that, don't have a problem with. It's the online for adjunct. It's a long training program.
Well, to be honest with you, if you go through curriculum, it says that the quality of a distance education class should have the same quality as a face-to-face class. So if those individuals, I mean, like with @ONE, they can do a lot of that stuff online. They could come in one day, and now I don't think that's too much to ask for them to come in one day and learn more about, or 2 days even, to learn about our program.
But they're being asked to come in like 8 days.
Well, that's the way it was going. I understand. And the proposal now, I think, is to go through @ONE, which is fine, but then we still need to they still need to learn about what's Cypress. That's what the general public thinks is the right way, and they'll give them the technicalities, but we need to teach them what we consider a truly equitable course is. So the web enhanced, those of you I know, I mean, the same thing happens to me. I'm now a department coordinator, and I get somebody in, and it's like my code for my textbook has to go through Blackboard, so I don't have any choice. My adjunct have to get that. So it has been a problem. But again, it's not the policy that's the problem, it's the lack of personnel that's the problem.
Kathleen and Jeannie, one of the items on this proposal deals with the training that you had just mentioned, the assessment ability. If you come to the 5th paragraph down, it starts with, on a related topic, more frequently than ever before, new instructors come to us already in possession of an online training certification with significant online teaching experience or with both. In the past, we asked them to complete our in-house training, notwithstanding. In these situations now, we would like to be able to assess the quality of that training and experience and certify them to teach online without mandating the additional and sometimes duplicative training. And they have an outline of the assessment. Would that be something that the Senate would entertain as a motion to accept of the proposal, just that component at this point in time? That we would be willing as a Senate to say that this assessment of training will work for our faculty without forcing them into 8 days or however long that training metric is? And if so, is there someone willing to entertain that motion? Is there a second?
Second.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you, Ron. Do you think that this is something that you can support wholeheartedly, Kathleen? Will this fit?
Yes, I mean, I would like to see it as part of a bigger issue, but if I could just have that for now, I'll take it.
Okay.
I'll take whatever we can get.
I'm sorry, absolutely.
So the motion is to accept basically what we have as our
The
related topic
yes.
through the last bullet point of that paragraph?
Yes, the assessment would require the prospective DE instructor to be able to demonstrate those items that are listed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Let me show you.
Is there anyone in opposition? Fantastic. Oh, yes, ma'am.
I came from an IT background, and basically I understand where Jeannie's coming from. I understand where the people are coming from who also have had training in Blackboard before. But when you're talking about, she's not talking about the training. She's talking about how we do it here at Cypress College. And I think that's very important. I think that the minute you lose that type, you lose your individuality. Basically, we become a pass-through, and she's absolutely right. You get unquality. I'm trying to think of a word for
lack
the opposite of quality
in
a quick manner. Lack of quality in the work that's out there. And frankly, I want to work for an institution that is a reputable institution that has clear guidelines in place. And I think that sometimes we move to pass things that we have no business passing. We need to talk about this some more, and I don't think that we should move forward with this.
Are you offering up a motion to refer this to committee?
I would love to offer up a motion to refer this to committee.
Is there a second? It has been moved and seconded to refer this matter to committee. Would you like to make a further statement regarding the motion to move to committee? Or have you pretty much summarized it and we'll see if there's anyone in opposition?
Well, I think that the motion would be to move it to committee to go through actually what the distance education is, to look at it from a viewpoint that we can actually get more feedback from the people who are actually doing the work and who have done it and realize what the problems are, because you can really mess things up if you do, and I don't add that. Go ahead.
May I also say that I would like to, especially since Dr. Simpson's here, when I was coordinator, he wanted the plan, and I was like, it was like I was in college and like, okay, you've got to have a research paper. I was like, oh no, I don't want to do it. But I have to tell you that this was one of the best exercises I have ever gone through. It's as difficult as it was at the time, but we have the original distance, the first distance education plan that includes the history. That was 2008 to 2011. That's on the J drive. All you have to do is look under distance education, under the plans. And this is the plan that was never been able to be touched because we had to go to the district hosting. But this will give you some ideas about what we in the past have considered to be important, and would give you a good background on it.
Is there anyone in opposition?
Yes. Okay, so here's the thing. The issue is often I develop the program, I develop the course, and I hire an adjunct to come in and teach it, and they have great IT skills, but they can't teach it because we're not offering the training, and the training requires that they come in for 8 days, and so they can't do it, but they're as a program coordinator, I have a responsibility to make sure all my faculty are teaching material that's correct, current, and all of that, even in class or online. So I think that falls under the program, the dean, the program coordinator, to make sure the quality of the program is good. So I think it's outside the scope of this is a system, we're using a system to deliver material, and I don't think it needs to go to committee. I think it delays the ability of all the adjunct people who want to teach online. It continues to hold their hands as long as we delay on this.
Is there anyone else to speak in favor of referring this to committee? Very well then. All those, yes ma'am.
I just like to, maybe I misunderstood something that Tim said, that's why I want to find out. One of your concerns was that as written here, it doesn't address our uniqueness as an institution in terms of it. Is that it?
No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is actually that I think that when we have information tech, there's a lot of, I think that going through the process of writing policy and procedure for things is a worthwhile process, because what it does is brings out those areas where we do have differences of opinion and how we can resolve them. 8 days is an extraordinarily long time to go through a training. That could probably be brought down to a day or something, which would be reasonable. But I think it's too much to expect people to come in and know how to do it the way we want them to do it, so that we do it the right way the first time.
Okay, so if I understand the motion correctly, this is to refer to committee so that this discussion would take place outside of the body of the Senate to be referred back to the Senate for our approval at the end of this. Okay, all of those in favor of, yeah.
Point of order about that,
Yes.
clarification. If we refer it to committee to deal with it later, what are we currently going to practice with regards to the distance education program? Still no more added instructors? Because until that happens, what's the status quo as it was?
It would stay at status quo. There would be no change whatsoever, and we're in that holding pattern right now. So I believe there's still an active call out for a DE coordinator. I don't know that it has been filled. This just would alleviate the training requirement. It's being moved to committee. So if you're opposed to postponing this, vote down the motion to move it to a committee, and then we can continue having the conversation. If you're in favor of this so we can move along to more timely items, then move to have this go to committee. So all those in favor of sending this to committee say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Okay, so let's Let's
What
do
are the
a show, what?
I need the.
Yeah, can we get the ayes, please?
To go to committee.
This would send it to committee and take it off of our agenda for today. It would be brought back at another Senate meeting, but we would be done with this issue for today. And opposed? And did you get them at the end of the meeting?
Oh.
Okay. And all those that are abstaining? Fantastic. What do we have? Okay, so back to the main motion. It has not passed. This would allow us an assessment of former training using these criteria that are listed for us. All those in favor of approving the...
Ask a question?
Yes, ma'am.
Who decides that the instructor's training has met this? Who gets to make this decision?
It looks as though down below it says we're looking for guidance on how this assessment might be accomplished in an efficient and meaningful manner. Just thinking off the top of his head, he thought that it should be the DE dean, the division dean from the appropriate discipline, and the faculty member experienced in teaching DE.
So we're really accepting it all the way down to there.
If that's the committee. Right now, we're just trying to see if we would accept the assessment of it. We can have a discussion of who should be on the committee separately. Dr. Simpson?
We're in a situation now similar to what we are with staff development, where we have positions that we ask for faculty volunteers. And if they come forward, they're acceptable, we're in really good shape. And if they don't, again, these are informal agreements and we have no fallback plan. So now we have no faculty coordinator for a program of the college that offers 10% at least of what we offer to our students for instruction. And it's not staffed. So while you're considering what we do for now, I think we've got a good interim solution for staff development. What about distance education? Again, if we have faculty coordination, we're in really good stead. But faculty on reassigned time can stop their participation anytime they want to, for any reason or for no reason. And then a major function of the college is unstaffed. That's not an issue we can solve today, but in our ongoing conversations, we have to talk about that. What if? Again, informal processes work really well until they don't work. And these are two examples that show we need to think a bit more deeply about this. I apologize, I have a meeting, and then I will return. Thank you.
The motion that's on the floor would be to allow the assessment of former training.
The motion is to 5, right?
Yes,
Okay,
yes,
just
that
5.
it would end up having an assessment that requires a basic understanding, ability to construct, understanding of 508 accessibility, student authentication methods, course materials, and regular, effective, and meaningful faculty-student contact.
Let me make one quick comment. There's nothing in here about Cypress College program. That's just I just know nothing about Cypress College.
Yes, Lauren?
Okay, you're not happy.
No, it's not you, I swear.
Okay.
It's
So
just,
I'm okay. So there has to be some sort of assessment tool to do this. According to this pretty much here. Having also reviewed online courses, there has to be some context assessment tool and criteria that's established, and an assessment tool that effectively fulfills that criteria to assess whether an instructor can do this effectively. And the problem is, right now, we don't have that tool vested, a current up-to-date tool vested on this campus. Am I correct?
To what? For the assessment of the
to fulfill this assessment where we are currently. And there has been a previous assessment tool. I agree, but
You mean assessing the course site or assessing the knowledge of the instructor?
Would be assessing the knowledge of the instructor.
Oh, okay, yeah, no, we don't have any instrument.
Right.
We have documentation on how to
Okay.
assess a course
So,
line.
so,
That's-
so in
that's-
other words, in order for us to actually make this actual, to actually have this function, we have to have that. And what I'm hearing right now that we don't have that. So you'd have to assemble a committee, and I think faculty would have to definitely be involved to create that tool. And at this point, we don't have it. So again, so coming back to you, Tina, I think that a committee, see, I'm going back to you, a committee assembled, I don't know who has the time for that, but I think it's pretty critical, is to assemble a committee that could in effect create that tool, that then to move this thing forward and bring it back to the Senate is what has to be done. You know what I'm saying? And I'm unfortunately, Jeannie, I mean, I'm more than willing to assist, but this is not my area of expertise. And last time I was in a distance classroom with Betty Disney in a hybrid situation. So, and I'm, you know, this is a long ago memory. So, there's where we are.
The motion to refer it to committee has been voted down. So the motion that's on the floor would be to accept a instrument of some sort to assess the quality of the training. Is there anyone that would like to speak in favor of this motion? Pat.
I'd like to speak in favor of it, but I'd like to offer an amendment and then make another comment. And part of this goes to why I asked the question, Tina, and the issue has come up that Jeannie raised. I would like to amend the assessment to include another bullet point that says a familiarity with Cypress College distance ed philosophy and procedures.
Is there a second?
Second.
Fantastic.
And I'm assuming you wanted that bullet point first?
I don't care where it goes first.
Okay.
I'm assuming Jeannie did.
Anywhere in it.
Anywhere in
Okay.
there.
Right.
So we would add a seventh bullet point, either to be number 1 or number 7, that would include in the assessment the familiarity with our Cypress College protocols.
That's the familiarity with Cypress College protocols.
Okay.
Now, I said though, as part of that, I also wanted to indicate, I think there are two issues that are facing us. We can either vote on this independently and then how it is measured later. That could send a message that we are going to do this, even though we haven't worked out the details yet. Or we can either accept what is here or discuss that further here and then send that part to committee after we've done the, I mean, I think we're looking at different options here in terms of what people would prefer. But we could certainly do this part and then send a message that that's our intent, which may be the way you want to go if people feel there's a need to discuss more completely the other element.
So currently we have an amendment that would add a familiarity of Cypress College distance education protocols. We did have a second. Is there anyone in opposition? All those in favor, are you in opposition, Mark?
I think I am actually. How would someone coming from another institution have acquired a familiarity with Cypress's philosophy with regards to distance education, if not through some training from Cypress College? I don't know if that's opposition so much as a question as to maybe clarify the language.
The way I'm envisioning of it, if that helps, is this person is coming in, they want to be teaching for us, then we would supply them at that point with our program, our plan and all of that so that they would have a chance to review it, and then we go to assess them. The majority of the assessment may be based on what they've done before, but we expect them to at least have read over and familiarize themselves with this once they get here. They wouldn't necessarily come in with it, but they could get that. And I would hope, I mean, that it's not that complex that they couldn't get a sense of that.
Okay, is there anyone in favor of the motion?
Of the amendment?
Yes. Are you in favor of?
Yeah, I think Pat brought up a good point of including Ginny's concerns in this, giving us a stopgap measure that we'll be voting on after, I'm assuming after we vote on this amendment.
Okay. Anyone in opposition to the amendment? Therefore, back to the main motion, which would allow the assessment of former training that would now include the familiarity of Cypress College DE protocols. Yes, sir?
I understand what you're saying, Pat, but, and we might not do that. I mean, this seems like another one of these examples of something of let's construct a shell of something, and then we're going to put a plan into it. And that this doesn't work. All we have to do, it seems, is maybe just say that it's Steve Donnelly who does this temporarily. He's the one who's going to make that determination on all those things that we're talking about, if they are. And how we are going to address this new amendment that we've just put in. Because I think Mark's right about it. We now have to certainly have something in here that says this person's going to get something. And I don't want it. I don't want it to be something that we do and we go, okay, now we're going to. It has to be a part of what we're doing here. It can't be something which is added on separately. We've got to determine how that new amendment is going to be given to them.
I wasn't arguing for that.
No.
I said it could be this
Right,
or this, and I'm fine, but it's where.
I'd just like to know what it is.
Okay, folks,
That's all.
the motion that's on the floor is the suggestion of the amendment of familiarity of Cypress College DE protocols. We need to vote on whether or not to accept the entire motion in its entirety that now has 7 bullet points.
Right.
Are there any more in favor of the motion that have not already spoke, that have something new to offer?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm in favor of adding that in, and I think it's rather easy for someone coming in to understand what the Cypress College distance education protocols are, because we have a Cypress College distance education handbook, and we have a Cypress College distance education rubric. I just went through that whole big long class, and it's a huge rubric with much detail. So if a person is coming in with Blackboard skills and online teaching skills and all their 508 and they have all that, and then all they need to do is spend some time studying our handbook and our rubric, I should think that they would be able to then pass. If there was the test, Jeannie, you were talking about as a starting point, or we develop something.
You're talking about the distance education,
Yeah.
which is much more than the one I was talking about was Web Enhanced.
Okay.
So it's just for people that use it as a supplement.
Yes,
There's,
yes.
So we're talking about 2 different
Yes.
trainings here.
Yes.
Yeah. And you are exactly right about the rubric and the handbook. I agree.
Right now, it's not hidden from anyone. It's there. So it's not like it would be difficult. It's emailing someone a link to it. That's how hard it is to get them that information.
Anyone in opposition to allowing the assessment of the quality of former training?
So once they've
Wait, I thought we were still voting on the amendment.
No, the amendment's passed.
Done.
The amendment's passed. No one objected to it.
Good.
Right? I'm with you. If it's as easy, it didn't seem like Jeannie was. Here's an email. Do this, and then there's going to be a test, and that test is already set up.
I'm not suggesting.
No. What I'm saying is there a test right now that
Not
we
for this.
email?
No, there is not.
Okay. So we'd have to develop the test too, right?
That's right.
Okay.
But what Steve is suggesting is you don't have to just, well, you're going to have some type of a tool so that it's consistent.
Right.
Steve's suggesting that these 3, the DE dean, the division dean, and a faculty member that's experienced, go through and evaluate the core, I guess, them, but, I mean, I don't know. I wasn't privy to that.
Just one last thing. That will happen once we get this DE person figured out. Right now, this is a stopgap, and it's acknowledged that this is just to address a certain issue that's happening right now. But long-term, we should get a distance person who's involved in the assessment.
Okay, folks,
I totally
we
agree.
have a lot of people in favor. I've heard the ideas. Are there any others in opposition?
Motion to the previous question.
Thank you, sir. Is there a second?
Second.
Fantastic. It's non-debatable, but we do need 2/3. All of those in favor of closing debate on this issue and moving to a vote, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Fantastic. Back to the original motion. This would allow the assessment of former training. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nay.
We got 3, 4. Any abstentions? Motion carries. Pat, abstention?
No.
Oh.
No, I'd like to, now that I think the vote is complete.
Yes,
correct?
ma'am.
I'd like to offer another motion that the Senate appoint a committee to report within the next month, preferably at the next meeting, its recommendations in terms of how this assessment process should be carried out.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right. Would you like to speak to the motion that you made regarding the Senate appointing a committee to bring back a recommendation?
Yeah, I think obviously the first, what we just passed, really can't have any effectiveness until there is some way of actually assessing it. I think it does send the message that we are willing to do this. It may encourage people to investigate possibilities, but I think we need to come up with the assessment method as quickly as possible, what we're going to do. And I think if we get some people who have experience in these areas, perhaps the suggestions that are on here may be what we end up with, but it may be something different. But I'd like some experienced people to take a look at it and come to us within 2 meetings and make the recommendation as to how we should conduct that.
Are there any in opposition to appointing a committee to bring back a recommendation on this item?
I have a question. I don't see how the time-sensitive issue of this is now resolved, because you can do nothing now until we have a month of them coming back and addressing this. It's why if we were going to do it for 2 months, we should have just sent it to a committee and had them look at it, and we could have come back in 2 sessions and done something. We have done nothing to push Kathleen's ball further down the field. Nothing. Because we can do nothing on this. It is correct. We have no assessment. We have no way of answering what is Mark's particular question that is now a part of this because we accepted it with an amendment. So we certainly can do this for a committee, but if this is because we're supposed to be pushing the ball further down the court and helping Kathleen to get some people to teach, we have not done that. We would actually be further tying her hands on the issue.
That's a strong opposition statement. Is there anyone in favor that has something new to offer?
I disagree, Brian. I think that it says, the thing that we just passed says the assessment would require the prospective DE instructor to be able to demonstrate. Then we've got the 7 bullet points, well, there's 6 that we added to 7, that actually is the assessment that we're talking about. That we can actually then assign to the DE dean, the division dean, from the appropriate discipline, and a faculty member experienced in teaching DE. We've got a model in place that we can start tomorrow on assessing people while the committee then attempts to go and come up with ideas that want to bring back to this Senate.
That was a strong statement in support. Is there any other statement in opposition that is new or unique?
Yeah.
Okay.
You do not address with what you have here what was Mark's original question. How do you assess the familiarity with it? You don't have that mechanism. It's the part that's the problem now, is you have nothing that says you've done it. You have nothing that says you've read this. You have nothing that says anything. It's just, I've done it, there it is. We have none of that assessment, so you can't do that tomorrow. It's part of what has to take place. We have not moved the ball further down the field on this. I'm sorry.
All right. Anyone else in support of referring this to committee that has something new or unique to add?
I think we have moved the ball down the field. It's now out there on the field. Before it was on the sidelines. We have now said this is what we are doing. I have no objection if this body wants to sit here today and discuss the second part of it. I have the feeling that people would rather have somebody take a look at it. I would really like it to come back in 2 weeks so that we can move on it more quickly. I realize that it may be a month on this. But if people want to sit here now and say, okay, let's deal with the second part of it, at least, and if not, at least we have made progress on the first part so that 2 weeks from now or what have you, we don't spend the time talking about this part of it. We've already accomplished this part. We're on the 5-yard line. Maybe next time we can get over the first down on it.
Folks, I don't mean to stop this discussion, but it is 4:15 and I am entertaining a motion to table this. We will bring it back as soon as we're done with the next agenda item.
Yeah.
Is there a motion to table?
A motion to table. I second.
Thank you. Can I get all those in favor? I need 2/3. All those in favor? Any opposed? Kathleen? Jesse, and Ron. Any others opposed? Any abstentions?
I just want to be sure, because when we pick this back up, we have to pick up exactly where we were at, and the motion is to create a committee for creating the assessments.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
All right. That one passes. We will move on then to the 415 time sensitive, the community college bachelor's degree. You previously received this in an email on September 28th, I would say, if not the 29th, regarding the passage of Senate Bill 850. You've probably, of course, read the complete statutory language because that's what you do for fun. I've given you a Cliff Notes one-page version of it because I know that you probably don't read statutes for fun. But here's our timeliness issue. So you have both a white handout that has the statutory language. You have a pink handout that gives you the most important points, and then a blue handout regarding the timeline. I'll wait till everyone has each of the handouts. Should be essentially pink, blue, and white. And if we start with the pink handout, this gives you what essentially had taken place on September 28th when the governor did sign into law Senate Bill 850. I have put the most important points on there, particularly the January 1st, 2015 proposals that will be coming out of the Chancellor's office for submission back to the Chancellor's office. We had a discussion in Senate last year about wanting or not wanting to support Senate Bill 850. The Senate decided to support Senate Bill 850. Now it has passed, and the question that we must answer is Cypress College wanting to be a part of the pilot program as one of the 15 community college districts to establish a baccalaureate degree. So in order to begin this conversation, the chair will entertain a motion that would substantiate Cypress College involvement in the community college pilot program for the baccalaureate degree.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right. Would you like to say anything to the motion, Gary?
I think it's an unbelievable opportunity that this state has afforded us, and to have our district be one of the pilot districts would go and demonstrate to the state the high level of prestige our educational services have on this campus.
All right. Anyone in opposition? Fantastic. Oh, yeah. All right. So all of those in favor.
Can I interrupt for,
yes, ma'am.
For just 1 second? And I'm not speaking so much in opposition. I think this has a lot of potential on things. But I think we need to be clear that what we are addressing right now is the conceptual idea of supporting this and nothing specific. We're not committing ourselves to any particular program. We're not even committing ourselves to doing something from this college because it is a district proposal and each district will have one, and maybe it may come from Fullerton and what have you. And I think that needs to be clear and understood by everybody now, that there would still be debate on the shape of what would occur if we in fact decide as a district to go ahead with this.
The motion on the floor is to support Cypress College participating in the pilot program. The motion on the floor is for Cypress College to participate in the pilot program, not a particular program, in the pilot program. Cypress College faculty supporting Cypress College participating in the pilot program. No. That's the motion that's already been seconded, for which I asked if there was any opposition.
I have opposition.
Okay, Jesse?
The way you just said it could be misleading because we may decide that there isn't any we want to push forward. So I would like to amend that to say we support looking into making a proposal, but we don't know that there's any particular area we want to go for a bachelor's in.
Okay, is there a second to that amendment?
I'm not sure that this is a second, but I think, see, my concern, and I think what you're trying to get at there is, the fact that Cypress College is supporting participating in this does not mean that Cypress College, it will be a Cypress College program that goes forward, because we are participating as part of a district in that case. It is a district decision, not a college decision. We can participate in that. We may provide input on it. But, and I would be very leery though if the intention of this is to say we would support only a Cypress College program when the district is deciding these things. It may be that a Cypress College program is the best one. It may well be that something else in the district may be one that we would want to support. So I think we need to be very careful in terms of what we're doing, because this is ultimately going to be a district decision on that. So if you talk about Cypress supporting it as Cypress supporting the process, that's one thing. If we are talking about Cypress supporting Cypress programs, that's something very different. And whichever way it is, I think that needs to be clarified in the motion that we're making.
Okay, well, we just had a proposed amendment and it failed for lack of second because we didn't have a second. So we go back to the main motion.
Jolene, could you read the motion again?
Which is the participation of Cypress College in the baccalaureate pilot program.
I want to speak to that.
Yes, sir.
It seems to me, Patty, I'm referring to as seasoned at this. To participate in this pilot program for the baccalaureate, is it simply the word to participate as a college within the district? I'm trying to find the wording for this, and I'm pretty tired, Pat. So we can move on this because I haven't even been to the area meeting with curriculum on the 18th. I know they're going to discuss this. I want to know more about the protocols and how they're going to handle it. I think in spirit it's a very exciting idea, and I want to be educated about it. You know what I mean? Help me with the wording of this, Pat, because I think what you're suggesting is a simple amendment to the language of it to allow us to enter in discussions about this, because the intent is good, and I think simply the word district needs to be, that we as a college want to participate with the district in this pilot program. Am I saying it correctly? Because I'm pretty tired at the moment.
I think what I'm talking about is that, and don't have the wording quite yet to offer this as an amendment, but it's something along Cypress College supports the participation of the North Orange County Community College District in the statewide program to establish baccalaureate degree programs.
There you go.
There you go.
There you go.
Okay, so the current motion on the floor, you're suggesting an amendment to, so that it would now read, rather than the participation of Cypress College in the pilot program, but the support of the North Orange County Community College District in the pilot program?
Right, in establishing the baccalaureate program.
Okay.
And like I say, then we're saying we're behind the idea of BAs being potentially offered somewhere in this district. Where they are offered, what they are, etc., is something that needs to be worked out at the district level. And any decision will be made at the district level and would have to entail input from everybody.
Okay, so what I think I heard you mentioned as an amendment would change essentially Cypress College to North Orange County Community College District. So instead of supporting the participation of Cypress College in the pilot program, it would be supporting the participation of the North Orange County Community College District in the pilot program. Does that sum it up?
Yeah.
Is there a second to that amendment?
Point of information.
Yes, ma'am.
Pat, what I think you're saying is that basically we can't guarantee this is going to go to Cypress and then mortuary science. That's what you're basically saying.
Yes.
Okay, so do we have to do it? Aren't they trying to just get a sense of the Senate as to how the Senate feels about this? Isn't that what the motion is, really, a sense of the Senate?
But I think there are two senses of the Senate. Do we want to participate in baccalaureate programs, and then which programs?
So maybe we should just have a vote on just how do we want to participate on baccalaureate?
That's what this motion was.
Okay, so, but you had worded it with that, so I wanted to make it clear.
That's the intention, because then at that point I am assuming if we support it, if Fullerton supports it, etc.,
then we start looking at which programs do we think would meet this.
Right.
And I, for one, would be very reluctant to make any decision about any program without hearing what are the different options that are available to us. It may well be that it should be here at Cypress. It may well be that it should be mortuary science. But I wouldn't want to make that decision without hearing other places and other possible programs as well. So this supports the concept at
Okay,
this point.
so the amendment would be to change from supporting the participation of Cypress College in the pilot program to supporting the participation of the North Orange County Community College District in the pilot program. Is there a second for the amendment?
Second.
All right. Anyone want to speak in favor of the amendment to the motion that changes it from Cypress College to the district? Anyone want to speak in opposition?
Yeah, I don't think it's our role to go and speak for the district. I think instead, I would like Cypress College Senate to speak to the college participation side only. Let Fullerton speak for themselves, let the district also weigh in on their end administratively. So I'm in opposition. I'd like to keep it centered back to Cypress College.
Any other in favor of moving it from Cypress College to the district in terms of that language? Yes, ma'am.
In response to Gary, it is ultimately going to be a district decision as to whether we do this or not. So that's what we're saying. We want the district to support this.
Any more in opposition? Yes, sir.
I agree with Gary on the college part of it, because we are speaking for the college. Of course, it's going to be at the district, but we don't parse that in other times that we do it. And actually, the reason why I want it to be Cypress is that I don't want it to be a Fullerton program. I want it to be the mortuary science program from this school. And I have no problem with pushing for that. And I'm just going to say this. We created this thing with nothing inside of it. All we're being asked to do is, do you want to pursue this so maybe we can hear about it in the future? That's all we're doing. If you were willing to do this, I'm not sure why you weren't willing to have Cypress in there.
Any others speaking in favor of the amendment which changes it from Cypress to North Orange County? All right. All those in favor of the amendment that would now change the main motion from supporting participation of the North Orange County Community College District in the pilot program. You would be voting for changing the words from Cypress College to the North Orange County Community College District. Those in favor of changing it from Cypress to district, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay.
Nay.
Any abstentions? All right, back to the main motion where we support the participation of Cypress College in the baccalaureate pilot program. Anyone else want to speak in favor? All the way at the end.
I just want a clarification. People keep referring to mortuary science as being this program. I wasn't here last meeting, but there is conversation about the HIT program being a potential candidate for this as well, because we do not offer a bachelor's degree program anywhere in Southern California. So I want us to keep our minds open as to what type of program might be considered.
I'm sorry,
The HIT program.
Back to the original motion. Anyone in opposition of supporting the participation of Cypress College in the pilot program?
I'm not opposed to it, but in addressing what Pat was talking about, it seems implied that we're supporting it provided we have a program that meets the criteria. So we can add that to the...
Are you offering up an amendment?
Okay, yes.
Okay, and your amendment?
Providing a program meets the criteria of the Senate Bill number 850.
Providing a program meets the criteria of SB 850. Is there a second to the amendment?
Second.
Would you like to speak in favor?
I'm sorry, I didn't get the second. I apologize.
Was it Jesse?
Was it Jesse? Thanks, Jesse.
Okay. Anyone in opposition to adding, providing a program meets the criteria of SB 850? Yeah. Very well then. This is a vote only on the amendment of adding, providing a program meets the criteria of SB 850. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Back to the main motion. Was that an abstention? Okay, back to the main motion then, that we would support Cypress College participating in the baccalaureate pilot program provided a program meets the criteria of SB 850. All those in favor say aye.
Aye. I would like a point of clarification. It goes back to what I said earlier in terms of what does this mean exactly when we say that Cypress College supported program. Are we saying that we are supporting a program at Cypress College, or are we saying we are supporting the concept of baccalaureate degrees in the district?
I believe we are saying we support a program at Cypress College being a part of the pilot program.
But we're not specifically chosen a program at this time?
No.
Okay, then I would speak in opposition to that for the reason that I said earlier. And I probably ultimately, when it comes down to it, would vote for one at Cypress College, probably a specific one. But until I have some idea of what the programs are, not just here, but at Fullerton, I don't feel comfortable making a decision saying, I know sight unseen that our program is the one that we should be choosing. That's why I wanted the district thing, because I wanted to vote for the idea. I cannot vote for the idea when I'm said I'm closing my mind to possibilities from elsewhere that I don't even know what they are. So I'm going to vote no only for that reason.
Any in favor? We'll come to Craig because I haven't heard your voice yet, sir.
I just wanted to make the point that by voting for our support on this campus, we're not saying that we don't support Fullerton or SCE. All we're saying is that at this point, we recognize the program on this campus, a program on this campus, if it has its merit, we would like to promote it. It's not saying that we don't want Fullerton to have it or SCE. It's just saying right now that we as a body, based on the information that we have, we feel that we can go forward with supporting our campus. I don't know what Fullerton's programs are. I don't know what SCE's programs are. I'm not comfortable saying that they should go forward. I'm comfortable saying that we should go forward. The discussion that we had from Mortuary Science was compelling, and it convinced me that, yeah, this is something we should explore for this campus. I haven't heard those compelling arguments from Fullerton or SCE, so I'm not willing to include them in that statement. I'm just interested in promoting what I have information on, which is our program here on this campus.
In opposition?
No.
A question?
Yes, I would like to motion to the previous question.
Okay then. Is there a second? Fantastic. In order to move the previous question, we need 2/3 majority on this. All those in favor of closing debate? Opposed? Abstentions? Back to the main motion. We are done with our debate. All those in favor of supporting the participation of Cypress College in the baccalaureate pilot program, providing a program meets the criteria of SB 850, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nay.
Any abstentions? Now, the chair is willing to entertain a motion that would allow us to have a discussion of particular programs that we would like to put forward. I want to draw your attention to the blue sheet regarding the timeline. It was brought to my attention that in order for the district to be prepared to submit the proposal in January 2015, it will need Board of Trustees approval at the latest Tuesday, November 25th. Which means that it needs to come out of the District Consultation Council no later than Monday the 24th, but the likelihood is that they would like to have discussion on October 27th, which means that we will need to have a conversation with Fullerton College and our School of Continuing Education Academic Senates sometime before then. You'll see the 3 dates that are listed there. But before we can even bring it over to their senates, it needs support of our administration through the President's Advisory Cabinet, which is next Thursday. So if you see our timeline, we have got to move on this, folks, in order to be a part of this pilot program, which you just moved that you support. So I am willing to entertain a motion of any particular program that you would like to see go forward on this.
What I hear you saying, Madam President, that we could have more than one program suggested at this time?
At this time.
I so move that mortuary science be considered a program to be considered.
I second.
Very well. Mr. Maker of the motion, would you like to have the first opportunity for proposals?
I've had the opportunity to hear that there are literally no bachelor programs on this end of the country.
That's true. Well, up north there's one, Gary, supposedly. Is that
I'm sorry, did she call on you?
I'm sorry. Think out loud, Gary. You know me.
And in addition, I understand that one of the finest mortuary science programs at the 2-year level this time is the one we offer here at Cypress College. As a result, I would think that if any program would be elevated to a 4-year status at this end of the country, it would be ours.
Anyone that would like to speak in opposition?
Just clarification. I just want to, it's the curriculum chair in OCD, pardon me, forgive me. I just want to make sure that we're clear, Gary. You know, I agree with you. I can't think of a better program anywhere in the United States. But isn't there one up north, Jolene?
There's another associate degree program at American River College, part of the Los Rios Community College District.
Yeah,
it is not a bachelor's degree.
Okay, I just want to make sure that everybody, I just want clarification on that. Just give them their due. That's all. That's all.
We'll go to Kathleen, and then if Mark is in favor, because right now we're looking for opposition.
This is a question, actually, not a.
Is yours a question or opposition?
It's kind of opposition, and
Then we'll go to Mark's question first, and then we'll come back with you.
I just wanted to know if the field of mortuary science is a field in which a bachelor's degree would provide additional opportunities not afforded to a student who only had an associate's degree.
I'll defer that question to the program director who's in attendance, and I'll let him address the Senate.
Good.
Well, thank you. In regards to that question, yes, actually the NFDA, the National Funeral Directors Association, in accordance with the Bureau of Labor and Statistics, has shown that in the next 10 years, there's actually about a 12% growth market for licensed funeral directors. Now, numbers don't lie. Numbers don't lie.
Get that lucky, Richard.
So yes, there is. Die quickly, yes. Also, there are 8 schools that do offer a baccalaureate degree. The closest one being in Edmonds, Oklahoma, which is approximately 1,350 miles from here. So there is nothing on the West Coast, that is correct. In terms of job opportunities, there are many job opportunities with the corporate publicly traded companies that allow us to, with a baccalaureate degree from Cypress College, they'd actually be eligible not just in those 8 school regions, but they'd actually be eligible for career opportunities, pathways, from coast to coast. And that's what our goal is in putting together some type of proposal looking for the opportunity not to limit students or graduates from just Cypress College, limiting them to California, but we're looking at creating a licensed pathway from coast to coast.
Got it.
Yes.
Cool.
Does that answer your question, Mark?
It does, thank you.
You're welcome.
Kathleen, in opposition.
I think that you guys are really well prepared. I think there are other programs on campus that might have wanted to do this or might want to do it in the future. I don't know that they're as prepared, obviously. So I'm not sure how we proceed with that, but I know that there were people that kind of heard about it late and said, oh, we want to do one too. And so from a CTE standpoint, I'm kind of representing that from CTE, they would like to see some consideration for this. The other thing is, didn't UCLA have a mortuary program?
No.
Okay.
No, well, I'll defer. Does UCLA have a mortuary science program?
No, UCLA doesn't. They have a Will Body program along with most other UC schools. Will Body program is separate from a mortuary science program or funeral service education. A Will Body program is actually accredited and licensed through the Food and Drug Administration with their medical school. Okay. Mortuary science or funeral service education, they're accredited through the American Board of Funeral Service Education, which is then under the guidance of the Department of Education.
In favor? Jesse?
Yeah, I just, one more question. I understand we're just voting on mortuary science now, but another one can come up. No, it's not exclusive. So if there's anybody else who has a program, they can propose that.
I have a point of inquiry, I guess.
Yes, sir.
If I'm looking at this timeline correctly, there is no room for other programs to come forward, really, in this timeline for us to go through us. And get on this calendar. I mean, just look at the timeline. This is very time-sensitive proposal. It's not trying to cut other people out, but if they're not up to the bat yet, it doesn't look like they're gonna make it.
In favor?
Well, I have a question about that, though.
Okay.
Because it's about this submission thing and what we're doing here. Because we're essentially saying, we agree mortuary science should be one of them. I was going to say HIT, because I wasn't aware of it, Rebecca. So I also want, I want there to be 2, 3, 4 programs from here. I wasn't trying to exclude that. Name them.
Air conditioning.
Well, what I'm saying is, can we just throw them then? Let's just throw them a batch of them, and we may not end up having them all come, but at least we'll make the deadline. I mean, that's what do they have to have a formalized proposal, or can we
Yes.
go, they have to have a formalized proposal
That goes to
following a
PAC,
particular?
that goes to PAC, that will then go to the Fullerton Senate, that would go to DCC, that would go to the Board of Trustees. Yes.
That's next Thursday.
But it gives them a week if they want to put together a proposal. If we're amending the motion, that would then include mortuary science and air conditioning and refrigeration and HIT. We can add additional programs and give them a week to get their proposal together so that we can bring it forward to the president.
Or any other program.
Or any other program.
Point of inquiry?
Yes, sir.
Is it feasible for somebody like Kathleen, who is expressing their programs, is it feasible that this could be done in a week? Their application process?
I don't know how long it would take for anyone to put a proposal together.
I guess is there a formalized, it's a formalized thing that you have to do, or is it, hey, we want to do it? Here's a post-it.
Okay, if you folks want to refer to SB 850, the small handout,
Okay.
they would need to put together the proposal at the top that would show that it's economically competitive, that it's limited in the number of areas, that there aren't a lot of those available. It will produce a skilled workforce. It would allow place-bound local students and veterans to earn the bachelor's degree, and it's not currently offered by any CSU, UC, or private institution in the immediate area. So if they could put that together in a proposal.
But, and I guess it's just because it's actually addressing what Jim's talking about is this is to pass through this first deadline, then does that proposal as written go on to somebody else, or can somebody do a different proposal as they go through the process to beef that up?
I would say because the Chancellor's office has not put out their RFP yet, there will be additional items that are probably going to have to be added to the proposal when the RFP comes out in January.
So you could conceivably cut and paste this, put my program does these things, and you're past the 16th?
Yes. So is there someone offering up an amendment to the motion?
No, we're still asking if there's other programs that want to be suggested.
Well, we haven't talked about, we haven't confirmed mortuary science yet.
Right. So right now, we have the opportunity to amend the motion that would include additional programs. So is someone offering up an amendment to the motion that would add additional programs for consideration?
Julie,
Yes, sir.
I move that we amend the motion to include mortuary science, help me out here, HIT, and
Air conditioning and refrigeration?
Air conditioning and refrigeration.
And court reporting.
And court.
And any other program that
And
you'd be
any
able
other-
to present by that deadline.
Okay.
Because there might be somebody else that we don't.
Okay. And any other programs?
Is it still viable? I mean, I'm a little concerned about including court reporting only because I wasn't part of their program review process.
They requested.
I know they've had some real concern. So I don't know that, now I'm out of my league whether court reporting would constitute your baccalaureate degree. I just don't know the answer to that one. I'm deferring to what I'm worried about is I'm okay deferring to a faculty member who is present with a discipline-specific expertise to name that program. I am really reluctant to throw into a program that I have no expertise to even suggest as a baccalaureate candidate. So if you're saying at the end of the table, do you think there's a running chance that HIT would be appropriate within this context? And certainly mortuary sciences as well, but I'm not going to put my name on something as a motion as curriculum chair to approve something that may not even qualify from the get-go for baccalaureate context. So I'm worried about court reporting. I would not suggest court reporting as part of that amendment at this point in time, because I have no idea.
So then the amendment that you would be suggesting would be to include with mortuary science, health information technology, air conditioning and refrigeration, and any other CTE program that can present a proposal that would qualify
as a baccalaureate program.
We have a suggested amendment on the floor that we'll need a second for, otherwise it's going to die for lack of second.
Didn't you receive something for court reporting that was pretty elaborate?
No, it says, I did not have an opportunity to meet with my academic senator, but we believe that a BA degree for the court reporting program would be appropriate at this time.
I thought there was some more.
Who wrote that?
This came from Carolee Freer.
From court reporting. That's more than we have from anybody else. Why would you exclude court reporting?
Because he's making the amendment, he didn't put it in.
I'm not going to put it in.
Do we have a second on the amendment that would include with mortuary science, health information technology, air conditioning and refrigeration, and any other CTE program?
And qualify.
Qualify. That will
Any other
qualify.
CTE program that is qualified for a baccalaureate degree. That's fine. Second.
All right. Would you like to?
Jesse, you could move to amend that.
Yes.
I would like to amend that to put court reporting back in and what he suggested, any other one follow.
Is there a second to add court reporting back to that list?
Well, before we do though, was there a second, I missed it, was there a second on Mark's amendment?
Wasn't ever a second.
No, there was a second on Mark's. It came from down there. Yeah. Yeah. So we have a amendment and an amendment to the amendment. So right now, on the floor is the suggestion that we add court reporting back in to the amendment. Is there a second to add court reporting back in? It dies for lack of second. There wasn't a second. So back to the original amendment. It would add to mortuary science, health information technology, air conditioning and refrigeration, and any other CTE program that will qualify for a baccalaureate degree that can present a proposal to PAC before October 16th for consideration. All right. Mark, would you like to speak in favor of your amendment? Okay. Is there anyone in opposition of his amendment? Yes, ma'am.
I personally don't think we should add all those programs. I mean, we've had since last year that this has been presented, and I mean, mortuary science has gone above and beyond to want this, and I feel that having these other programs in there just makes it I don't know, it kind of takes that away from them. And I mean, yeah, these other programs should, also get the opportunity, but they've heard about it, and I mean, maybe court reporting saying that they heard about it late, but I mean, once they heard about it, they should have, acted right upon it right when they heard about it. And there's other programs that there's probably other court reporting, bachelor degree or anything on the West Coast, and mortuary science there isn't. So I just personally don't think, as a student, I'm not even in the mortuary science department, but I mean, somebody from mortuary science, they've gone and they actually contacted me to tell me that they wanted me to, say something, and it's nobody else from any other program has gone through these limits to try to get their program to have a bachelor's degree. So that's personally why I feel like we should just take those out and just keep mortuary science. So.
Anyone in favor of adding the additional programs in the amendment? Speaking in favor?
Yeah, I agree with everything you said about mortuary science. They impress me. They may candidly be a front runner in my head, but I haven't seen the other people. And maybe they're going to wow us. And that doesn't allow them. It gives them a place at the trough potentially. It doesn't allow them to. It doesn't necessarily say that we're dissing any of the others. We're basically saying we've got a lot that could potentially do it. Maybe there's one that some people want more, but there's many others that could potentially do that, and it doesn't hurt for us to put forth as many as can meet that requirement.
Just to be clear, point of clarification, we're never going to. We don't have another opportunity to decide which we prefer, correct?
In 2023.
Okay. All right.
This is a rush job.
There's another opportunity.
Did all these other programs know that today was the day to either get Senate support or not get Senate support?
They were sent an email that told them that this would be a Senate agenda item that would have to push forward. I don't believe that they may have known how timely it was in terms of meeting all of the deadlines, because I was apprised of those deadlines when I went to the Brown Act training on October 1st of where it had to go next. And the email had gone out on, I believe, the 28th or the 29th.
Okay. So while I agree with mortuary science making a strong case, I also feel that we shouldn't see it as a negative that other programs didn't have all their ducks lined up, because from what I'm hearing, they weren't aware that today was the day where you're shooting ducks. So I would make that point to the Senate.
Very well. Very well. Any others in opposition? Any others in favor? Yes, ma'am.
I just wanted to make a point that there's still, we still have a little bit more discussion on our faculty, and most of our faculty is adjunct. And so that's really kind of tough for us to round up all of our adjunct in order to really fully vet this. It may turn out that after we vet it, we may not want to be considered. But please allow us the opportunity to finish vetting it and meet the deadline. Yes, it's a short deadline. If we're not able to do it, we're not able to do it. But don't exclude us at this point. I wouldn't exclude anybody, let's just put it that way, not just HIT.
Okay, back to what we are voting on is the amendment that would add additional programs to the laundry list. It's not the main motion, it's just the amendment that would add the additional programs of health information technology, air conditioning and refrigeration, and any other CTE program that will qualify for a baccalaureate degree that can present a proposal in time for our PAC meeting next week on October 16th for consideration. So all of those in favor of the amendment, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed to the amendment? Any abstentions? This takes us back to the main motion, which is supportive of sending forward to the President's Advisory Cabinet mortuary science, health information technology, air conditioning and refrigeration, and any other CTE program that will qualify for a baccalaureate degree for those proposals to go to PAC next week on October 16th. Anyone want to speak in favor of the motion? Yes, ma'am.
I just have a point of clarification. When it goes to PAC, does that mean that PAC decides which one's going to go forward and not Academic Senate?
Absolutely.
So Academic Senate doesn't get to give a recommendation as to what program they want to go forward?
We would just be sending all of these equally forward with no support one or the other, but they would all go forward for consideration at President's Advisory Cabinet.
I have a question. So then when this goes to PAC, PAC is going to decide which one of those is going to so they're the ones that are going to have this discussion and who's going to be presented forward.
They may decide to put all of them forward and let DCC decide. We are supporting something going to PAC. What comes out of PAC and goes to DCC would be within the purview of PAC. Yes, ma'am?
I would like to read for the record a proposal from the mortuary science on the baccalaureate. May I do that?
Go right ahead.
The purpose to propose a baccalaureate program in the field of mortuary science to be offered at Cypress College as part of the Governor's Pilot Program in connection with the recent passage of SB 850. The state has recognized that certain CTE areas such as mortuary science are fields for economic growth and that they are not academically supported at the public university level. There are only 2 community colleges in California that teach mortuary science. Cypress College is the only one in Southern California. There are currently 8 accredited schools that offer baccalaureate degree. Southern Illinois University, Mid-America College of FS, Jefferson, Indiana, I assume, Mount Ida College, Newton Center, Missouri, Wayne State University, Detroit, University of Minnesota, Minneapolis, State University of New York, Cincinnati College of Mortuary Science in Ohio, and University of Central Oklahoma, with Oklahoma being the closest, approximately 1,350 miles. Rationale: in order to increase career longevity, I can't speak today. Longevity, thank you. A baccalaureate degree program will help provide educationally qualified individuals into the workforce to help meet the employment demands of the highly specialized field. Current turnover rate in the funeral industry is approximately 5 years. This career investment of incoming workforce would extend the employee turnover, potentially eliminating it altogether. As of 2013, according to the BLS report, the employment rate with an associate's degree was 68%, but the employment rate for those with a baccalaureate degree or higher was 73%. In consultation with the in consultation with the Mortuary Science Department Advisory Committee, most recently on Wednesday, October 1st, 2014, it was discussed and decided by the committee that a baccalaureate degree proposal for the field of mortuary science should be presented to the Cypress College Academic Senate for consideration and acceptance. The advisory committee is a representation of the funeral industry managers and owners, along with other supporting agencies that help guide and assist the Mortuary Science Department. The advisory committee is comprised of privately owned funeral homes as well as publicly traded funeral homes. According to the BLS, the funeral industry is expected to grow 12% from 2012 to 2022. In consultation with previous mortuary science graduates and current mortuary science students, it was decided by the department faculty to present a baccalaureate degree proposal in the field of mortuary science to the Cypress College Academic Senate for consideration and acceptance.
That's a statement in support of our motion. Is there a statement in opposition? Very well then. The motion on the floor would be to put forward to the President's Advisory Cabinet at the next meeting on October 16th for consideration mortuary science, health information technology, air conditioning and refrigeration, and any other CTE program that will qualify for a baccalaureate degree that can present the proposal at that time. All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion passes. Are you abstaining, Kathleen? Okay. Please, senators, ask your faculty who believe that they might be able to qualify under the reporting requirements of SB 850, and you've got the nice little breakdown of what they need to do. If they can get those to us so that Academic Senate can present them to the President Advisory Cabinet next Thursday.
Jolene, I would like to request that you send that out.
Absolutely.
Across the campus so that we don't miss anybody.
Absolutely. I would be more than happy to do so. All right. That takes us back to the item that was tabled before, which is the motion for the Senate to appoint a committee to put together a recommendation regarding our distance education assessment for prior learning.
Motion for an amendment
Okay.
to that. If we could ask that committee to also try to find a stopgap solution for those potential DE instructors who are not yet
Could
trained.
we wait until the room clears so we can hear you, because we're having difficulty down here?
Sorry about that, Mom.
It's the first time I've ever been told I'm not talking loud enough tonight. Thank you. I've been waiting for years to do that.
Okay, so you're looking for a stopgap solution.
For those instructors who have not been previously trained, because well, I don't need to give a rationale. That's the proposal, the amendment.
Okay, so let's see if we can summarize what that amendment is going to be. So the original motion was for the Senate to appoint a committee to create an assessment or to create a recommendation for the assessment of prior learning and
the process of is what we're looking. What we're trying to do is kind of what is on here, saying you need a system to assess. We're not asking. Right, so it could be something like this or something
we're not
different.
creating the assessment.
What
we
Mark
are
is suggesting is that it include a second part, and that is not just for those who have been trained before, but for training of other people. Am I correct?
It's not an assessment, but to ask that committee to also explore opportunities for a stopgap solution for those who have not been previously trained.
what I had written for the motion that was on the floor at the time that it was tabled was that we were actually looking for the committee to create a recommendation for an assessment, not a process. So are we now?
No.
No?
No. What we're looking at is who's going to make that determination. The first part here says this is what is going to
happen.
This is what they have to do. They have to prove it.
Let's see if this
What point we're at?
Now you're talking about who does it.
Can read back the motion
Well,
for us?
it was to create a committee to look at to look into and create the assessments.
No, that was not what my motion was.
Okay, restate your motion.
So we get it right for the record.
The motion was that the committee.
Committee to.
The committee. Is a report. I'm trying to get the order in this. That the committee is going to recommend to the Senate the method by which this assessment will be carried out. It's not the assessment itself, it's how it is done. So these items say this is what we are looking for. If you look at the suggestion from Steve, that can be determined by a committee of the dean, a disciplined faculty member. That may be what they recommend, but maybe they have another recommendation as to how that process of assessment is going to be carried out. Not the assessment itself, but the process of it.
Okay, so I believe I can reread the motion to make sure that it's correct.
I just want to make sure, that's actually not, that does change the original intent of that, and I'm perfectly okay with it, but it does change the original intent, because if you remember, the conversation was about specifically how do we assess Mark's question about do you have a familiarity with stuff. That was one of the specific issues. So we needed to be able to, in the entire parameter of this thing, not all of them, which includes the amendment that was added, familiarity with Cypress College stuff. My question was, how do we do it? And then we got into a discussion about it being needed to be put to a committee, so we figured that out and all of this other stuff. And it may be a semantics thing, but I am absolutely positive that the specificity of this new motion is not what we were talking about before.
I think it is a semantic, because when you raised your issue, it was in relationship to my first amendment in that original area that says we would add the other. And I said, this is how, because the question was, how could somebody not, and that's when I said, well, you could look at other things. So that was talking about what you can give them to deal with that. Who evaluates it is the second part, and that's what the second motion was intended for.
We left off the ball at the 5-yard line, and I was going to say it's not the 5-yard line of the goal line, it's the other 5-yard line, because we're going the other direction. That's where we left off. It was a discussion as to how quickly we were going to be able to put this stuff into place, because we had no idea what the shell that we just agreed to was actually going to be done. That we were talking about how, oh no, we've moved the ball and we have something official to be able to be done, and I specifically addressed with Gary, no you don't. There is nothing that we have here that is going to allow Kathleen to have an emergency person in the next 2 weeks get somebody done. There is nothing that's going to allow a new hire to be done because we don't have the process in place. And so we're talking about those assessments. That's actually what we're talking about. It's not.
In order to be able to move this item forward, we need to have an understanding of the motion that's before us. I can't read back what we had done previously because apparently my notes are incomplete. So I want to make sure that I have the current motion as the maker intends for us to be able to have a discussion. And the motion, I believe, if I have it correct, is that there would be the Senate appoint a committee to recommend the method by which an assessment of these items, which were previously passed, would be carried out. Is that your motion, Pat? Does that summarize it correctly?
That the method by which the
assessment would be
the criteria that are identified will be determined.
Okay, so not the assessment, but the criteria by which the assessment will be determined?
No.
Okay.
How are we assessing the criteria?
No.
Can you help me with this then? I want to make sure that I get it right.
Let me make sure, because apparently it's not coming through clear.
Can I say something to that?
Sure.
It looks like we have two issues. The issue is they need to get their people to work, and we're holding them up. The second issue is a proposal that has come before us, and what ends up happening is we're not sure we want to accept all of this. So what Pat came up with was the motion to look at this, how are we going to assess this and do this in a couple of weeks so we can let them move forward. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so what she said is that, but we still have the issue of maybe we could amend your motion to let them look at everything and let them move forward, have a motion to move people forward.
All I was trying to do was expedite things. Let me do this.
Okay.
And I will, let me make a withdraw. Well, I can't withdraw it, though, that's the problem. I'm going to go ahead and recommend that this body approve the method that is suggested in this. Now, if people don't like that, and we want to spend a lot of time talking about alternatives, I am perfectly willing to do that right now.
Okay, so you're...
Or then people can say, refer it to committee or something like that.
I seriously don't know what the method is. You're saying the method used here. What is the method?
Okay.
These are criteria. They're not methods.
No. Wait, hold on. Folks, we need to have a clear understanding of the motion that we are discussing. So I want to make sure that I have this correct. So is it your motion that we recommend that a committee be formed by which they decide that there is a method for the assessment?
Right, but what I'm saying right now is that I'm going to recommend that you vote that down, and then I'm going to offer a second amendment that says we adopt this. Because apparently people are saying, well, I don't want to get it out of the way. Let's discuss it right now and say this is the way that we think this should be carried out.
Okay.
I heard her say yes.
Okay, so then the motion on the floor is that the Senate would appoint a committee to recommend a method by which the assessment will be carried out. Okay.
I call the question.
Fantastic. Is there a second on the call?
I second.
Fantastic. All those in favor of ending debate on this issue?
Aye.
What about the amendment that I proposed, though? Is that taken by that?
We still need to make sure that we have the original motion complete before I can go forward with the amendment, because there was a question on the original motion, and I don't want to approve an amendment to a motion that we were unclear of.
Rookie mistake.
Not a problem. I just want to see if we can get back to the main motion. All those in favor of ending debate on the issue? It doesn't end the motion, just the debate on the issue. Aye?
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
Any abstentions? Okay, so now, the main motion that you are going to vote on, that the Senate appoint a committee to recommend the method by which the assessment will be carried out, is currently on the floor. Mark, you are suggesting an amendment to that motion, or you're assessing an amendment to the motion that she's about to make?
I quit.
It's your first day!
I am proposing, no. In all seriousness, I am proposing an amendment to the motion that you just described.
Okay. So now, you understand what the motion is, that the Senate would appoint a committee to recommend the method by which an assessment will be carried out. That is what you're trying to amend?
Yes.
Okay, so what is your proposed amendment to this motion?
I would add the verbiage to the first section that the committee decides, say the last section again?
The method by which the assessment will be carried out.
And who will conduct that assessment. In addition, if they can explore and...
So slow down, Mark, she can't keep up with you.
And who will conduct the assessment?
In addition, if they can propose to the Senate a stopgap, to use scientific terms apparently, a stopgap solution for those who desire to teach distance education classes but who have not passed training or whatever. Like me and the other 20 of us in the community department.
Okay, so not only are you adding additional words to the main motion, you're adding a second sentence to the main motion as well. So what we would be voting on, folks, but we still have to have discussion on this, would be adding the words "and who will conduct the assessment," and then secondly, a second sentence that says, in addition, propose to the Senate a stopgap solution for instructors who are not previously trained but desire certification.
Yes.
Okay. Anyone want to speak in favor of the amendment?
I will really quickly. music department, small anecdotal evidence, obviously it doesn't apply to everybody. We have 1 full-time faculty and 25 adjuncts. The full-time faculty is on medical leave right now. He and maybe 2 of the adjuncts are currently licensed or certified to teach online classes, and it's a problem because this is Joe Gallo I'm speaking of. Almost his entire load is taken up with distance education classes, which is perhaps not the best use of our only full-time faculty member. And me and several other people have been clawing to try to take this class, even though it would be me driving an hour for these sessions, which would be outrageous, but it needs to happen, and there is no mechanism for that. And so that needs to be explored. I know that certainly the more obvious need is people that are already certified to do this, but I think at some departments such as ours, there aren't people who are doing that.
No, actually, just at this point of clarification, I'm addressing exactly what you're talking about. The people that could do it, would do it, and can't do it because of the process that we have in place right now. So it includes both the people that are doing it at other colleges and the people that have a strong aptitude for catching on to Blackboard and can do it within these
I see. So you're saying people that haven't done any official training would still qualify to take this examination after reading PDF after PDF. Okay. Well, in that case, then I would say that is not needed if that's already a part of this.
It is.
I didn't know that was a part of this. I thought this proposal was, if you read here, they say already in possession of online training certification, which I, for example, and many of my colleagues do not have.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So I've been doing web enhanced courses, but I haven't taught distance education. I want to. There hasn't been for my entire tenure at Cypress an opportunity for me to be trained. So I would like the committee to investigate a short-term solution before we have a distance education coordinator who can enable that in addition to those that already have official training.
Is there anyone that wants to speak in opposition to his amendment? Jesse?
I do, because the original intent was people who taught somewhere else and had Blackboard experience. Now we're broadening it, I think, beyond what everybody was looking at originally. And I don't know that I agree with that. Now, I do agree that there is a problem, but I think that's separate from what we were talking about before. We ought to stick with this one. Then if we need another amendment or another bill, then we should do that. But we should keep this one to what we originally were talking about. Those that had experience somewhere that can demonstrate with some little additional thought, like the familiarity with Cypress College protocol, be able to quickly be certified. So I'm against the amendment because I don't want to broaden out to people who don't have any Blackboard experience.
Anyone speaking in favor of the motion that has something new to offer?
I agree with it because I want it to be spelled out. And I think that while we've got a committee looking at it, they should look at this too, because it's also a need. It's not just the people who have training in other places. And what we really do have to do is I don't know why we parse the words on it. We need to create the assessment, because we need to be able to tell somebody, here is this assessment, which Jeannie said we didn't have. So we got to create that assessment so that Mark can take it after he reads PDFs. Mark can read all the PDFs, and I can give him all the stuff that says about Cypress, but he has no way of demonstrating that. I would like this committee to be able to go, well, if we get this assessment and it says you got to have this stuff, and you can pass it because you did whatever it is and you didn't have training someplace else, then you should be able to take that opportunity too. And that would satisfy what you need. It's creating this assessment that anybody, if you have in the past or haven't, you want to come in here and take this, it's a basic skills thing. You've tested in to 100, so you can do it. If you can't, then you're going to have to go do something else, regardless of whether you have the training or not in the past. So I think it's fine to do it this way. We might as well.
So you're in support
Absolutely.
of the amendment, in opposition to the amendment?
I'm in opposition, because I think what we could do is say that we're going to approve this for now until the new person comes in, we get a new procedure, and we get an assessment. So we could do it and approve this on an interim basis until the committee can make a recommendation.
Okay, so what we have on the floor is the amendment, folks. This is a discussion of the amendment, not the main motion. Anyone else in opposition of the amendment? All right. So therefore, what you are voting on is the addition of the words "and who will conduct the assessment." In addition, this is the second sentence, in addition, propose to the Senate a stopgap solution for instructors who have no previous training and desire such. All those in favor of the amendment, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed to the amendment?
Nay.
Ooh.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It passes.
But we need to know exactly who said nay on it.
Actually, you don't on any of this. What this is going to read as is after motions, amendments and motions duly made and seconded, this is what we came down with. You don't have to write all of the specifics of every single thing in this. You don't, actually.
Brown doesn't require that we have a roll call vote.
They do not require, as you remember, they required on main motions, they do not require on every single part of those. That was a specific question that I asked him, that they do not require on every single debate part that you've done. They require it on your main motions of the actions you've taken.
Okay. Therefore, we are back to the main motion, which is Pat's, that said that the Academic Senate would, oh, hold on, back to here. Okay, that the Senate would appoint a committee to create a method by which the assessment will be carried out now that we have added the amendment, and who will conduct the assessment. In addition, propose to the Senate a stopgap solution for instructors not previously trained and who desire such. Any other
I didn't see that passed.
No, this is the...
The amendment is now part of it.
The amendment didn't pass.
No, the amendment did pass, did it not?
The amendment passed.
The amendment passed.
It was, there were 5 nays and the rest were yay. Is what I have here, 5 nays. Do you want to do it?
Okay, well, okay, are you
Would you like a roll call specifically for it?
Fantastic.
It's not a, would you like a roll call vote?
Okay, so those senators in favor of the amendment will do a roll call vote. Who has the roster?
Can I have the, no, it's a roll call vote. Can I have the roster, please?
Really?
Yes.
We just couldn't raise our hand?
No.
Okay, thank you.
That's not what it is.
If you'll just pass the roster around so that we can do the roll call vote.
What is silence?
I'm not here.
Yes, we do. Quorum call. We have more than 15, we have more than 13 people in attendance? Yes.
There's March. All right. Roll call vote.
Business CIS, Jesse Saldana.
Nay.
Career Tech Education 1, Kathleen Ryland.
Nay.
Career Tech 2, Michael Clyde.
Nay.
Renaissance Salo. Not here?
No, she's here. Yay,
Nay.
nay, or abstain. Yay, nay, or abstain.
Yay.
Renee Laguana Faranac.
Fair enough. Abstain.
Jim Hormel's not here. Paul Payment.
Yay.
Joe Franks here? No?
No.
Jane Walker.
No.
Yay.
Oh,
Rebecca Gomez.
Yes.
Sarah Jones.
yeah.
Keith.
Yay.
Pat. Nay. Bill not here. Lori.
Nay.
Joel.
Nay.
Ron. Interesting on the revote how all of you revoted. Thank you. Brian Sealing. Yay. Twice. Because I guess we can do that. Craig Korlowski. Yay. Tanya.
Yay.
JY.
Oh, no.
Mark.
Yeah. Aye.
Yes.
Oh.
Mark
Which
Majarian. Mark Majarian.
Yay.
Gary Zager.
Yay.
1, 2, and the nays. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 nays. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 ayes,
Motion passes. Thank you. I appreciate that. Now back to the main motion, that the Senate appoint a committee to recommend a method by which the assessment will be carried out and who will conduct the assessment. In addition, propose to the Senate a stopgap solution for instructors not previously trained but who desire such. Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to speak in opposition to my motions. I indicated I would, for two reasons. One, second, part of it is on the amendment, although I was opposing it anyway, not because I don't think it's a bad idea, but I don't think it should be combined with this. I think it's a totally separate issue, dealing with one set and then the other. But the main reason that I'm not calling for it is that there seems to be so much confusion. I would like to see this voted down. Then I'm going to offer the amendment, another motion that says that we should be doing it, what we have here, and then we can debate the merits of that. My intention was to give people a chance to think about things, but people seem to be so confused. Let's just go through and discuss it, and if people don't like this suggestion, come up with another one. So I urge a no vote on my own motion.
Anyone else to speak in favor of the motion that's on the floor? Yes, sir.
I agree, absolutely. There's a lot of confusion. I think the committee can choose to look at this and decide to send this back to us and say, just do what that says. And that they may be able to be afforded the amount of time required to really do the due diligence on that and to make us not be confused next week, or next session rather.
Anyone else in opposition of the motion? Very well. Without seeing anyone else, opposition?
As motion stands now with the amendment.
Yes.
The reason I feel against it is only because I think it's going to delay having the current problem solved. There are two problems, and I'm not saying that the other one shouldn't be solved too, but let's keep them separate. And let's go ahead and give relief to the people who are already trained, that are ready to go, and the other people, I think, are the second consideration, and not the same as the first.
In favor?
I actually don't think they're separate. I think that Mark made a great, compelling issue as to why you need to have that included in this. We can shoot for it to include it, and if our committee comes back, we have committees that do really good work. Our committee is going to be able to see this. It's two different things. They get it. They're going to try to do it together if they can. They're going to be people who are from this. And if we can knock those two birds out with one stone, great. Because my point still with this is I would like to get it done really fast, because there's nothing we can do. No one's going to get new destined ed until all of this stuff is done. Not by voting this. This did nothing, because we have no assessments. Okay? The ball's not at the 5. If it is, it's at the other end, and we've got 95 yards to go because we have no plays to get a touchdown. We have no idea how this is going to get done. We have no idea how how people who have it are going to get done, and we have no idea if Mark can't pass something that we come up with as an assessment, which again has to be done, because I don't know how you familiarize yourself with something without saying that there's an assessment that you've done it. And Jeannie told us there isn't. If they can create that assessment, which is what I thought the meeting was about, if they can create that assessment, then it could possibly apply to everybody. If it doesn't apply to everybody, it'll certainly apply to that first group. But what I don't want to do is kick it down the road again and say, let's come back with another committee and keep Mark and other people in music from not getting trained on this stuff unnecessarily because we're dragging our feet on it.
Anyone else
Point
to
of
speak?
clarification. As it stands, with what we passed, is it not so that the dean and the department chair of the whatever department it is essentially makes their judgment as to whether the person is qualified or not? Without
That's what she's That's going to be my motion.
That's my proposal, the next proposal.
Regardless of the assessment, what we passed, it seems to me, it's the judgment of the dean and the department chair as to how they judge the person qualified. They basically assess them by whatever means they do. Is that not so?
What we have currently that we previously passed was allowing an assessment of basic understanding, ability to construct the Blackboard course site, understanding of accessibility under 508, understanding student authentication methods, understanding course materials, and understanding regular, effective, and meaningful faculty-student contact. And then we added to that a familiarity of Cypress College protocols. So we allow an assessment. There is not currently an assessment. This motion would recommend a method by which the assessment would be carried out. It would not create, at this particular point in time, it would not create the assessment.
Point of clarification.
Yes.
Apologies for delaying this. What difference does 2 weeks make in a sense that, like, for example, I could get trained tomorrow. There's no class for me to teach until January in my particular program. Does delaying the people who have already been trained 2 weeks prevent them from teaching certain courses, or is this all just happening in time for the winter intersession anyways, such that 2 weeks sort of is irrelevant in terms of the time we're waiting for the committee to report back to us with a more well-reasoned argument?
I can give you a little bit of information, but not much. They're currently putting to bed spring schedule in our divisions, so any of the faculty that would be requesting spring web-enhanced course sites, that will come out soon, I would assume. But without a DE coordinator, I can't guarantee that. So the timeliness might be that they missed the opportunity to add a web-enhanced course site for Blackboard for spring. It could happen. I don't know that it would happen because we don't have a DE coordinator, so I'm not sure.
It is happening.
It is happening. Okay.
Call the question.
Fantastic. Is there a second to the call?
Second.
All those in favor of ending debate?
Aye.
Any opposed to ending debate? Any abstentions to ending debate? All right, then we are ready to move on the main motion. All those in favor of the Senate appointing a committee to recommend the method by which an assessment will be carried out and who will conduct the assessment, in addition to propose to the Senate a stopgap solution for instructors not previously trained who desire such. All those in favor?
Aye.
Nay.
Okay, we're going to need a count on that. All those in favor of the motion? We've got, let's see, Mark. Oh, maybe we'll end up with enough. Okay, so we got Keith and Sarah, Tanya, Jane. Both Renee's or just one? Renee times 2. Any others in favor? I got Mark. All the, okay, any of, yeah, I got Mark and Tanya, Keith, Sarah, what was that one? Oh, shucks. Oh, Tina, I put Jane. And then both the Renees. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Any others in favor? Okay, opposed? Okay, so we have Becky Gomez, Lori Morvan, Craig Gorowski. Does it pass? Does it fail?
Okay, I made
Oh.
9, this is 9.
Okay. But this is the main motion, so we need to know who voted which way.
Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Do you have the names of all who voted in favor?
Yeah.
Okay. It then,
And one abstention.
I'm sorry.
Mark, you're abstaining?
Abstain.
Okay.
Okay, motion fails. Is there a new motion to entertain? Yes, ma'am.
I would like to move, and this was in conjunction with what we had passed earlier, where it says the assessment will require that the prospective PE, that's what this motion is in reference to. The determination of whether a previously trained